Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of me coloring with Lisa. Okay, so I thought I wanted to just color some roses. So I want to show you some different cool ways. I made this really cool worksheet for you. You can practice on it, print it out. It'll be available to you. But I'm going to show you just different ways. Okay, so I made this little rose here for you. That you can practice on just to try your different colors, because there's so many different colors and different ways to do roses. So I am pulling out some colors right now to show you the color palette you're going to need. Okay, so grab these colors. Alright, so I just grabbed some colors right now for the pink. Okay, so just get out your pink, your processed red. You're going to need a blush pink, just so you can have a variety of pinks. Definitely your hot pink. You're going to need a hot pink. And these two little purples, your grayed lavender and your lilac. These will give you kind of those colors. Now I also want you to pull out, okay, we're going to need some, we're going to need yellows, okay? Because I'm going to do a yellow, show you how to do a yellow and a pink rose, okay? So, okay, I'm going to use some deco yellow, okay, so put a deco yellow, a jasmine, well, I need a deco yellow, a goldenrod, and I actually want a canary yellow. So grab your canary yellow. I'm looking for mine right now, but I'm trying not to take up your time. So just grab a canary yellow. Well, you'll find it. Grab a canary yellow. You don't need to see it on here. You know I'm going to be using a canary yellow at some point, okay? Okay, now, so the first thing I want to do is I want the inside to be yellow and the outside to be pink. I want to do like a dual tone yellow, okay? So, rose. So let's take this, which is a deco yellow. And I'm going to, I always have to have a sharp pencil. So I take my handy dandy pencil sharpener, which I love to use. And I'm going to start in here because I want my yellow to be on the inside of the rose, right? So just place your yellow on the inside of the rose. Now maybe some of your roses won't have a grayscale. If it's not grayscale, I will usually turn mine into grayscale. I'll teach you that as you move along, but I like to put a little shading in. It just makes my coloring look a lot more realistic. So I will show you these techniques. You just make sure you like and subscribe and follow me, and you will understand. You will learn eventually, okay? So I want this whole inside to be yellow, right? So you see I'm just kind of putting the yellow in. And I decide, where do I want my yellow leaves to be? Well, I think I'll still do this one in a yellow. I'm looking at a picture of a real rose right now, so I didn't practice this first, just so you know. Alright, so I don't want the directional lines, so I'm going to come back across the other way. Because see, when I went this way, I saw the lines for my pencil going this way. I didn't want that, so now I'm just going to fill it in, but I'm going to fill it in the opposite way to get rid of those directional lines, because I don't like them. It adds an unrealistic touch and makes it look, no, I don't like it. Okay, I want this yellow. I mean, you can figure out like where you want your yellow to go on your flower, and as you keep doing them, you'll get more and more about, where you want your yellows and where you want your pinks. So I'm going to do the middle in yellow, okay? So that's pretty clear. I'm doing the middle in yellow there. Now I'm going to take my canary yellow. Now the canary yellow has like an orange tint to it. So I want to, it's got a little bit orangey, and so this will give it this shade. So wherever you want it a little bit darker, start putting in a little bit of shade. And you can kind of like follow along on this one, because this one already has the shades. But if you don't have the shades, you just put them in. You just use a little bit of the gray and you could put in your own shades. Very simple. It's not even hard at all. They're called undertones, you guys. You put in a little undertone. Just grab your little gray, and it's like, let's say you didn't have a gray grayscale. Grab your gray that looks close to this gray, which is a really light, like a 20 or 30%, even 10%, whatever. And you make a little, like your shades, and just start by putting your shades. And then from there, which is called your tones, from there, then you can add the color on top of that. That's just an advanced technique. If you're not there yet, don't worry about it. All right, then let's take a golden rod, right? And with a golden rod, we want to start adding a little bit of shade. Now put it in lighter. See, I'm not pushing very hard, but this is giving it a nice shade, right? So you put it in, just add your shade, and you, like I say, just kind of follow along your shade, or if you made your own shade. You want to, you know, the whole thing about this is to add the shades, because the shading is what gives everything the dimension and the more realistic look. It makes your flowers look really pretty. So see, I'm just adding in nice shading, right? So easy, not even hard at all. And have fun, just put the shades in. Blend it so it's got a natural, you know, you want it to have a natural shade. I kind of went over it right there, but that's okay. It'll all play in. We could use some white later if we need to. But either way, you see, I'm just putting in a little shade in here. I can go back in later and add more, you know, if I'm not happy with the shading. But you got to start somewhere, so you just kind of start with just exactly like I'm doing it. Just kind of start. Get a little messy. We're going to fix it up with some white or some yellow. You can use the yellow as a blender, so don't worry about it. I'll show you in a second. You'll see I'm just adding, maybe I want this to be a little bit darker and stand out. You just kind of just keep playing with your shades. You put the first layer in lighter, right? And then you can darken it up as you are progressing in your picture. Just, you know, see how simple that is? And look, it's already beautiful. Okay? I mean, well, I wouldn't say beautiful, but you know what I mean. All right, I'm looking for my white. Sorry, but I need my white. Okay, so now you can take your white and just kind of blend it. You know, if you wanted to have a nice smooth blend, some little highlights. I'm just blending it in very, just because I don't like the little lines and the, you know, I like everything to be blended in. And then if it gets washed out, like it's too much washed out, you go back in and shade it a little bit more. No big deal. You just keep working with it. Okay. Then what we want to do is we want to put in some pinks. So let's grab our, actually let's not. I take that back. Our grayed lavender. Grayed lavender is a really nice little shading color that you can use for an undertone for your pinks. It's kind of like using a gray as an undertone to make your grayscales, but except for this has got a hint of the pinkish purple color. So when you're putting this, like, just use this as a shade color. See how I'm shading it right here? And I'm using the grayed lavender to make the shade. But over it, we're going to put the pinks. So it'll have a pink color, but this is what the undertone, okay? And you need an undertone. I mean, if you don't need to, I mean, you can color it any way you want. I'm just saying, this is the way I do it. I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Now, in this area here, see, this is bigger. And I don't want it to be, I'm following the way that this, I'm not really even sure the way this petal goes, but I'm just kind of guessing. It goes like this, put a little darker in here. Kind of use this as a guide. Well, it depends on what picture you're coloring, because I mean, your picture will have your shades in different spots. This is where my shades are, I mean, as far as I can see. Just some Looks weird. I just got a weird craving for steamed clams. That's a weird craving. I'm not even pregnant. What the heck is that about? That sounds so weird. I have no idea what that's about. All right, and then I can take my white, and I can even, if I want to, like, if it looks a little too rough for me and, like, you know, it's not a smooth transition, I will just blend it in with the white. Just to, you know, make sure everything is copacetic and just nice and smooth. And, okay, so that looks all smooth and good. All right, so then I'm going to just say, all right, well, now I'm going to start putting in my pinks. So I'm going to grab my hot pink, and with my hot pink, I'm going to say, all right, well, where do I want my hot pink? So this is my, like, darker area of the shade. Right? It's a little bit darker. It's a little bit darker. Then I will come back with this. This is my blush pink, which is the lighter pink, and use that as a shader. So it I mean, as a blender, like a blender deal. And so I will just blend it with it. And then I'll come back in with my white, of course. And I go the direction that I think that the petal is going, you know, to make it look a lot more natural. Okay, then I will grab my white, and of course I use that as my blender. There's a lot of blending and layering. I mean, it depends on how much effort, you know, that you want to put into your picture, and your mood. I mean, if your mood is to where you don't really want to take the effort and you just want to get over with, well, it's a different kind of a mood, right? Than if you say, oh man, you know what I feel like is making the most bitchin' picture ever, so I think I'm going to just take my time and do a really good job. Well, every day is different. Your moods are going to be different. And so yeah, and if you mess up like I did, right, that's just way too dark there. So I'm just going to use that to my advantage and use that for a shadow to the other petal, you know, so that it doesn't look, so it just brings out this petal a little bit more. And you just kind of mess around and bring those colors out. But see, it's already looking a little bit better. It takes a little bit of time, not much, just a little bit of effort. And then I'm always going back and forth between my blender and my other colors, because I want it to be different. Now you can even grab another pink, which is the blush pink again, and you want to, you know, start putting in some more shade, which is the darker color. You just put in some shade. Right. This thing hasn't even come to life yet. We're just kind of getting going. See how I'm putting in the shadows? Then I'll come back around and I'm going to blend them in so that it looks, go the direction of the petal. See, this one's coming in this way, so I come in this way, come around that way. And I'm going to grab some of this one. This one is just your regular pink. And this is a little darker than the hot pink, but if I want my shade, you know, wherever you want your shade, you put your darker color. And I want some shade in here, in here. And because I know I'm going to be blending it with white, I'm not all that concerned that every single one of my strokes is like perfect. Because I know I'm going to be bringing my white in. I know I use a lot of white. I buy these white pencils by a dozen at Amazon because I just use them as a blender. Just so great. It just makes my life so easy. Alright, now I'm going to take a processed red. And the processed red is where you really want to have your shadows. Right? And we want them always, like if your petal is down into something, you'll have it darker down in here, right? Because it's up against something. So your petal is going to be darker. And then on some of these, your tips might... You know how on roses sometimes the tips are just really... You know, like the tips just seem to really stand out. You can do that on some if you want. You don't have to do them on everyone, because then it will look too outlined. You just got to kind of play with it to get the right feel of the way that you like your petal. Just imagine it's sitting in the sun somewhere, you know, like that. Now you want to take your white. See, because this looks just too outlined, right? It's just so, I mean, you want to soften it up a little. So just kind of go over it. Melt those colors all together so that it just has a more of a natural look. This should be more sharpened, of course. Anyway, just blending it in, just so it, you know, has a little bit more of a natural look. Now you want to take some pinks and you want to have an overcast of pinks on your yellow too. So, you know, you might want to throw in some pinks up in here. Blend those in. As you want to get a lot more natural, or you could just, you know, to make everything look a little bit more realistic, and how much time ever you want to take on your picture, you know, you just take your time and put your colors in. I just want little hints of pink and just some areas of this yellow, just so it's not quite so yellow, you know, like maybe there's some pink in here, you know. I mean, wherever, I just have, there's just little hints, you know. And like I say, you could take a long time working on each flower. But this is just a demonstration purpose only, so you can, you know, learn how to do beautiful rose. Okay, and then I'm going to be taking, and I have all those different pinks. This one here is a blush pink, and I'm using the different pinks, the light, the mediums, and the darks. And you want to have a variety of your lights, your mediums, and your darks, right? So, because that creates your flower. So see how I'm putting the light in here, and then I'm going to go back and grab my white, because the white will blend this in. So wherever that needed to be blended in, do you see how I just smush the colors around? I'm just smushing them around and getting them to be right, and then I'm going to grab my little darker one. Like if I want that petal to stand out a little more, I'll put more darker in the background, because the darker will bring out the front petal, right? Because it makes that recede so that this front one pop up. I put a little bit darker behind it. See how it just popped up a little bit? But I might think, maybe I need it to be a little darker, so I'll grab some of this, the processed red, which is our darker one, and then I'll put that behind it a little bit. Now I could blend it even with the blush pink. You don't have to blend it with a white. See, look, I'm blending it with a blush pink right now. It gives it a little bit deeper of a look. Okay, and then I'm going to put in blush pink in here, just because it needs some more. And I'll grab some of this blush pink again, and you could grab a white or a blush pink. I mean, the white will wash it out more. The blush pink will give it a little bit more depth because it's got a color to it. So you see, like that, how it's kind of coming along. So you just keep working with your rose like this until you're happy with it. And make sure this is that process red again. But see, because it needs to be darker in here. So I'm going to put a little bit darker in this area here, because it'll bring out this nice yellow petal behind it, right? Because the darker that this is behind it, it'll bring up the color that's in front of it, especially since that color is lighter too. But see how I'm going, when I'm blending it, I'm going the way of the petal. I'm not like blending it this way. Sometimes I will, but that's if I'm just doing some basic blending. But for the most part, you want to go the direction of your petal. And then, like, you can clean up any edges with your white. You know, you just gotta kind of mess with it. Maybe you want to add, like I'm thinking maybe I need a little bit more pink in here, right? So, see, I just add a little pink, and then you can use your yellow as a blender even. See how I'm using the yellow as a blender? Remember, yellow and red make orange, so if you do that, it's going to give a little bit of an orange hint, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's all different colors. We like the different colors. Okay, I'm putting a little canary yellow in here, and just giving it some final, not final, but touches, just some touches. No, just touches. They're not final touches. They're just your own special little touches where you want your hint to color. Okay? And you just continue until you're happy with how your flower looks, you know, and you maybe want this one to be, I don't know what this color, I mean, depending on the shape of your rose, because, you know, they all have different shapes. I mean, you know, this one happens to be this shape, but yours that you're coloring in your coloring book might be different. The technique is still going to be the same. Okay, how I'm just putting in color, right? And then I'm going to come back in, and then remember I use goldenrod when I tint my yellow. Now you're going to start getting used to your colors, and you're going to know what color you like tinting your colors with. And pretty soon you're going to know goldenrod is a great tint for your yellows and your canary yellows. And then you bring out your Spanish oranges and your hennas. And I mean, you're going to start learning, you know, what your favorites are. But I mean, these are the basics. You will always use a goldenrod when you're tinting your yellow, or you can use your Spanish yellow, or, you know, you're going to get your favorite, what you like to tint it with. But once you know your Prismacolors, you're going to know what color, you know, because they're usually always the same. I mean, you change it up a little bit. I mean, God, there's so many ways. You can even tint this up with the Tuscan red. It all changes. Hold on, someone's interrupting me. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm going like this. Get out of my fridge, please. Okay, sorry, someone was in my fridge, guys. Okay, so see how I'm putting this like this in here? Alright, now I'm going to take that Deco Yellow and I can use that as a blender. So on any of the yellow flowers, I'm using yellow as a blender. And goldenrod as a shade. And with the pinks, I'm using, you know, the different pinks and the processed reds, and bring out some magenta if you want to, or whatever. Okay, so that's pretty much how that one goes, like that. And then you just bring in some more colors. Now I can even bring in some more different orange, you know, like depending on how dark I want this one to be. You know, as far as what's what. Bring some pinks in here. Blush pink. I'm just using the medium color just for the bottom here. And then I will use, since that's the medium color, I will grab like maybe the next color just to give it a little hint of that, hint of the, you know, you mix your colors together. You don't want them all to be the same color. This is the hot pink, and then I'll grab my processed red. Take some processed red and, like, you know, maybe you want it darker in there. Right, well, I think you got the idea, right? So there you go. You can practice on these roses. Every which way. Now, underneath this one here, you will also, if you make it a little bit darker, underneath here, it'll make, see how it makes that flip come out more. So you just put in your little darker underneath it. Then, of course, that looks ugly, so you're going to blend it in. So you can either use the white or you can use one of the pinks. And you just keep doing it until you like it. If you didn't like the white and you thought it was too washed out, then throw in another one of the pinks. And now, you know, you could even put some yellow inside of here too. So let's say we wanted to give, so I'm just, the colors will start smushing together, so you don't even need to put in a base on some of them. But like, you might want to add some yellow in here, you know, just to give that some interest. You can feel free, you know, to add some yellow in some of these too, you know, just to, so that it looks a lot more like that, right? And then you just keep working with it until, you know, you're happy with your rose. I mean, you can spend an hour on it, and that's okay, because it's about having fun. Put on music, you know, put on your music or whatever, put on your TV show, and take your time. So what if it took you an hour to do rose? Big whoop. Your picture will look beautiful, and you took your time on it. And if you feel like you're just getting, like, you're hurrying too much, you can always walk away from it, go have a snack, come back. You know, when your mood is ready to take some time on it so that it comes out good, like that, right? Then you can, you know, we still have these other colors. We got our lavender, our lilac. You know, you could throw in a little bit of that in some areas if you want, just to add some, you know, some color. Just add some lilac in your whatever. I mean, just as long as you have your basic colors together, like these, you just put them all together, and you just hold on to your pencils and just grab them interchangeably. Just grab your colors, and you have your handy dandy white. So you see how I'm just holding them all? I can grab any of these interchangeably and add them here now, and it would be pretty, you know? You just have, it depending on how your flower is made. Because in your book, if your flowers, you know, point in a certain direction, you're going to want to put darker where you want the shades and things like that. But as long as you have your color palette, just hold on to your pencils and just interchangeably. But this is a good example where you don't have to make the whole thing pink or red or blue or whatever color. You can mix up the colors and, you know, make a nice blend, you know, to where it looks really cool with a blend of colors. Look, see how I just added some pink down in here? See, just added just a little bit, you know, just to give it a little bit more definition of color. Maybe you think, oh, I need a little bit more pink in here. Okay, so you put some more pink in here, and you can use your, you know, either your yellow as a blender or the white as a blender. Right, so I'm going to have this rose worksheet on my Patreon page. I'm going to have it there for free for all viewers, so you can just download this. And look, this is it. See, look, you're going to have 4 different ways. You could do a blue one, a red one, you know, however you want to do them. Just practice on your roses before you put them in your books, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, of course. Tell your friends, your forums, your groups about me, because, you know, I like to get more followers because I need them for my YouTube channel. So anyways, I hope you like this. Ciao for now. Ta-ta. Have fun. Happy coloring.